starting right now. From Bristol, Mike Greenberg here on a Tuesday, and delighted you've chosen to get up with us as our friends in our analytics department here at ESPN have done us a favor. The Football Power Index is out, the predictions are ready, and we've got a lot of thoughts right after we get up and go. Take you around the world of sports on a busy morning. It starts in baseball, where the Rays, the Astros, and the Angels have opened their facilities for limited team workouts. In Tampa, 14 players took part in playing catch and conditioning exercises, working out in a makeshift weight room on the field. Coming up, Jeff Passan will tell us why this is an enormous week for Major League Baseball. He's live in a half hour. Elsewhere, Georgetown coach and NBA legend Patrick Ewing has been released from a hospital after being treated for the coronavirus. He's 57 years old. He's now recovering at home. He revealed his diagnosis this past Friday. To the NBA, where the overwhelming sentiment among players is that they, quote, really want to play. That according to their executive director of the Players Association, Michelle Roberts, who is conducting team-by-team calls to gauge reaction to the NBA's plans to resume the season, which will most likely take place in late July. And NFL Vice President Troy Vincent acknowledged that the league, quote, failed miserably in implementing pass interference replay reviews last season. His comments came during a broader discussion on the Sky Judge proposal that owners will vote on later this week. We'll talk more about that as the morning goes, but we're going to start with this. ESPN releasing its Football Power Index. We call it FPI this morning, and fans of the Green Bay Packers are not going to like what it says. FPI gives Green Bay just a 43% chance to make the playoffs. Of course, the Packers went to the NFC Championship game in January, where they lost to the 49ers, and the overwhelming reaction has been they didn't do a whole lot to address any holes they may have this season. Looking forward to see if they can improve themselves. So let's get the conversation started there. Diana Rossini, Dominique Foxworth, and Ryan Clark are here this morning. And RC, I can't help but wonder, if the Packers do fail, let's live in a world where FPI is right, and the Packers don't make the playoffs this season.
Yeah.
What does that mean for Aaron Rodgers?
That means the Packers are going to get a whole lot of love, Greeny. This is just great. We're just going to sweep Aaron Rodgers on out of here. We're going to get the first battered Hall of Famer on his way, because what we're going to say is, even when we have Aaron Rodgers, we aren't competing. We can't even get to the playoffs, not the wild card round, not the divisional round. And so what's the use in waiting on getting Jordan Love some live action reps if we aren't at the top of the NFC with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? And you can look at this two ways. You can say that it's the executive's fault. You can say that it's Matt LaFleur's fault for not getting enough to help Aaron Rodgers win some games. Or you can say this is great planning. We understand that we are looking forward to the future and that Jordan Love is that future. And if that's the case, if you don't make the playoffs, why wait to start your future plans? Let's get Jordan Love in there, see if we could trade Aaron Rodgers, get something back for him, or what will that cap hit do to our team? And you got to remember, your starting quarterback will be on a rookie deal if Aaron Rodgers is gone. So if this team doesn't make the playoffs, I think we see Jordan Love sooner than later, and Aaron Rodgers will be wearing new colors next year.
So Nick, let's pick up the thought there. Could you see a scenario where it's week 15 and the Packers are out of it and Aaron Rodgers is sitting on the bench watching the first-round pick on the field?
Well, I mean, if it's week 15 and the Packers are out of it, they absolutely should put Jordan Love in there, but I don't think that necessarily means that Jordan Love should be the starter next season. If it's week 15 and they're out of it, there's no sense in having Rodgers out there for potential injury or anything like that. But if Aaron Rodgers still has a very good Aaron Rodgers-like season and they miss the playoffs, which is absolutely possible because it's not like their defense was great last year. The defense played well, but it was in large part because of the turnovers they created, which we all know can be random and they may regress. So I could see them missing the playoffs and Aaron Rodgers still having a good season and them coming back and handing the ball back to Aaron Rodgers, despite the fact that there'll be a lot of pressure to get the ball to Jordan Love and move forward.
Yeah, they may want to hand the ball back to Rodgers. He may not want it from them. Diana, let's talk about what all this looks like, because all of it sounds good until you start looking at the salary cap ramifications and it becomes overwhelming. What does it look like if Rodgers and or the Packers decide they want to part ways at the end of this coming season?
Yeah, Green, there are a lot of numbers involved in this, but just taking a broad look at it, it would make the most sense for the Green Bay Packers to move on from Aaron Rodgers in 2022. In 2021, the cap hit is still so big against the Packers. They'd save about $4.5 million, which in total, that probably looks to be the best situation. But really, if we are talking about the Green Bay Packers moving on from Aaron Rodgers, it is not going to be after this season. It most likely won't be this season after that. It would be that following season there. I'm not really sure what Ryan Clark is talking about in terms of saying that Jordan Love is going to get in there and make a difference, because it seems like he's saying that he could perhaps give this team a chance. How can Aaron Rodgers even have a chance if this team has done nothing to give him weapons? I know we could probably debate this all day long, but I don't believe that the Green Bay Packers are going to move on from Aaron Rodgers this year if they don't make the postseason, Ryan.
Go ahead, RC.
Guys, here's the thing. We're not debating that. I didn't say that Jordan Love was going to make a difference. I didn't say that putting Jordan Love in as opposed to Aaron Rodgers would make the Green Bay Packers better, because in that case, I would have said that they should have drafted him. What I'm saying is, if you are the Green Bay Packers and if you are Brian Gutekunst, the GM, and you're looking at this team as constructed with Aaron Rodgers as the quarterback, we are regressing. Can I go out and get something for him to add to this team as I start to move forward with Jordan Love? The premise of having Aaron Rodgers there still is to teach Jordan Love and to keep this team competitive, to try to win while he's here and also be planning for the future. But they just didn't do enough to make this team better to compete with the San Franciscos, the New Orleans Saints, and those different teams. And so now you're going to sit back, look at your team as a whole and say, how do we get better moving forward? And maybe that's trying to trade Aaron Rodgers, add pieces, and move forward with our young quarterback. What I do know is they moved on from Brett Favre in Green Bay, and he was 13-3 in that last year. So you do what the hell you want when you run these teams. And so if they think it's time to get Aaron Rodgers out of there, I believe they will.
To be clear, I think there's a lot of room for criticism here if this thing really doesn't go in the right direction. You go from 13-3 to out of the playoffs to trading or moving on from Aaron Rodgers in the span of one season. I'm not sure how anyone could be anything other than unimpressed. Meantime, let's look through some of the rest of what we have from FPI here. For the second straight year, the Kansas City Chiefs are the top team in ESPN's Football Power Index preseason ratings. It's also the second straight year Kansas City is the initial favorite to win the Super Bowl. They're chased right now by the Ravens, who have the second highest chance to win the Super Bowl at 17%. FPI actually has Baltimore the favorite in all 16 of their regular season games, including that Week 3 matchup against Kansas City on Monday Night Football. And the Saints are the third best team, according to our analytics, and have the third best chance to win the Super Bowl, the best among all NFC teams at 13%. And then as we look at the next grouping here, I mean, it really does shape up to be a fascinating season. The 49ers are the only other team with a percent chance better than 10%. Take a look at the Cowboys and the Eagles sitting there sort of neck and neck with Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. The preseason FPI favorite the last 2 years has gone on to win the Super Bowl. The Chiefs last year, the Pats a year before. So these guys know what they're doing. Let's talk about the Cowboys here. Dominique Foxworth, the Cowboys listed as the fifth best chance to win the Super Bowl and ahead of the Philadelphia Eagles. What do you think?
I mean, I like it. I think that they were listening to me for the last several weeks when I said they have a better quarterback in Dallas than they do in Philadelphia. So I think they're a super talented team that lost some close games last year. I think they were 0-5 in one-possession games. That sort of stuff turns itself around, and they have a talented defense that underperformed that I expect to play a lot better. And they have an MVP-caliber quarterback. He played an MVP-caliber football for much of last season. He fell short in some key moments, which I think skewed the way people perceived him. But I think he'll step up and play well this season. That team does have a chance. I know they're fifth, but it's only 5%. So 5% is not a lot. They're not super confident in the Cowboys, but I do think it's a good spot for them.
Why is Ryan Clark laughing?
Because, man, I love Dom. I miss my dog. I miss being in the studio with him. He is going to die on this Dak Prescott Hill with a number 4 tank top jersey on because he wants his guns out because he really believes in this guy. I mean, it's just crazy to me. And I thought we went through this last year. I remember last year leading into the season, many people were picking the Dallas Cowboys to be their NFC representative in the Super Bowl. And I was like, dog, pump your brakes. This team's ceiling is 10-6. And I don't necessarily know that they've done enough amongst some of those teams that they were lumped in to just be put ahead of them, to be put ahead of Tampa Bay when that's a team that wins 7 games, the Cowboys win 8, and they have improved vastly. And I just don't think the Dallas Cowboys have. I don't think the Cowboys can beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win the NFC East. And not only are the Cowboys not my 5th team overall in the NFL, they're not my 5th team in the NFC. And so to me, this is just another episode of us overvaluing the Cowboys, or maybe looking at their total worth and saying, you know what, a team worth this much has to finally make it to the Super Bowl. But I'm here to tell you they didn't make it last year. They ain't made it for the last quarter century, and they will not make the playoffs again with the way that this team has been trending.
Diana, Cowboys have a new coach. They've got to get their quarterback signed. We assume one way or another he'll get in there. Assuming that he is the starting quarterback for them this year. Are the Cowboys better than they were a year ago?
It's taken 5 years, Greeny, but I finally agree with Ryan Clark on something. The Cowboys are like that sparkly toy where I think we all want to believe that this is something we want to own. We want to be part of this. They had a great draft. They really did in terms of giving Dak more weapons. But that second part of that defense, that secondary, they finished 25th in turnovers last year, and they lost Byron Jones now in this offseason. So defense is still going to be a major issue, and I'm always going to be really hesitant, Greeny, when it comes to a brand new head coach coming in. And with this condensed offseason, these strange times right now in the league, I just think it's going to be a difficult transition for Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott. Yes, they have tons of weapons, but why are we ignoring the Eagles? They have had consistency and injuries after injuries after injuries. They can't have any more injuries this year. It can't happen again to Philly. So as much as I think the Cowboys could be good, I'm with Ryan Clark. They got to get through the Eagles first.
Go ahead, Nick. I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, I mean, it's splitting hairs. They're both very good teams. I don't think they're losing Byron Jones. I think it matters because I love corners, but Byron Jones was never a turnover machine. So losing him, I don't think impacts their turnovers. I think a lot of turnovers are based on randomness. So I'm betting on randomness correcting itself and them having more turnovers in this coming season, and Dak Prescott continuing to improve. He's gotten better every season. So I think that it's fair to say I'm the president of the fan club because a lot of my prediction is based on me thinking